jumping to conclusions and showing little remorse should their actions turn out to be mistakes, and relentlessly promoting a deeply unhealthy way of life are just a few of the examples of individuals within the Jedi Order or the entire organization as a whole going a little bit too far in the galaxy far, far away. I'm Gareth from What Culture Star Wars, and here are 10 times the Jedi went too far. Number 10. Luke Skywalker almost tries to kill Ben Solo in his sleep. Ah, how different the sequel trilogy would have looked had Luke Skywalker decided to keep his lightsaber holstered. Instead of facing off against the savage yet conflicted Kylo Ren for much of the series, Rey, Poe, Finn and the gang would have likely found a strong ally in Ben Solo to help them during their battle against the dark forces of the First Order. Sadly though, late redemption arc aside in The Rise of Skywalker, our only real glimpses of an unturned Ben come in the form of a series of flashbacks. In a moment of weakness, fearing Solo could soon wander down the path to the dark side, Luke brandished his lightsaber and went to attack his Padawan and nephew, only to hesitate and realize his mistake at the last minute. But the damage was done, my friend. Ben woke up to find his master brandishing his green blade above him, panicked and embraced the hatred that was growing within him. This one moment of weakness opened the door for a frightening amount of pain and suffering. Number 9. Mace Windu refuses to let Anakin assist in the Chancellor's arrest. Throughout much of the Clone Wars, the relationship between Mace Windu and Anakin Skywalker could be described as frosty at best. The true extent of Windu's lack of trust in the Chosen One is on full display during the prequel ending Revenge of the Sith. Ultimately, Windu's distrust of Anakin eventually leads to him simply going too far at a pivotal moment of the Clone Wars. Despite bringing forward the revelation that the Chancellor was in fact the Sith Lord they'd been searching for, Windu denied Skywalker the chance to aid him in the arrest of the accused politician. In arrogantly stating that Anakin would earn his trust if his claims were true, the purple-bladed master likely nudged Skywalker ever closer to the dark side, having already been ostracized from his peers because of the Order's restrictive rules on marriage and attachment. Seeing Windu attempt to execute Palpatine without a trial was merely the icing on the Vader-themed cake, forcing Skywalker to give in to his feelings and cut the Jedi Master's hand off before Darth Sidious blasted him into oblivion. Had Windu fully believed in Skywalker and brought him along to witness the Sith Lord cutting down multiple Jedi during his fight for survival, perhaps Anakin's descent into Vader territory could have been avoided. Number 8. Faking Obi-Wan's death. When news came of a plot to capture Chancellor Palpatine during the animated Clone Wars series, the Jedi Order probably went a little bit too far to ensure the safety of the eventual Emperor, in having Obi-Wan Kenobi murdered by a bounty hunter by the name of Reiko Hardeen. The Jedi convinced the world, including his former Padawan Anakin Skywalker, that the Master was no more. This wasn't actually the case though. Kenobi simply needed the cover as he was set to embark on a covert mission disguised as Hardeen to foil the abduction plans enacted by Count Dooku. It goes without saying that committing to such a lie spelt trouble for the Jedi later down the line, with Skywalker in particular struggling to control his pain in the wake of his old master's death. The deception may have worked out in the end, as the Jedi were able to successfully keep the Chancellor out of Dooku's hands. But these actions only left Anakin questioning what else the Jedi were keeping from him, and no doubt added more fuel to the fire that would eventually result in the complete destruction of the Order. Number 7. Expelling Ahsoka Tano from the Jedi Order. From the moment she first arrived on the scene during the Clone Wars animated series, Ahsoka Tano added a new perspective to the world of the Jedi Order. After becoming the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker, fans followed Tano as she slowly began to display the same traits as her master. Tano remained fiercely loyal to the Order and the Republic, leading the charge in countless battles throughout the war. However, that loyalty was majorly tested when Ahsoka found herself framed for the bombing of the Jedi Temple and the murder of Letta Termund. Quickly jumping to the conclusion that Tano was indeed guilty, the Jedi expelled Skywalker's Padawan from the Order. Tano would flee before the trial, but was eventually captured by the Jedi. Her master would then finally prove her innocence, paving a way for her return to the Order. But the damage was well and truly already done. Ahsoka instead opted to go down her own path after losing faith in those she had remained loyal to for so long, leaving Anakin with another loss, as well as one of the only people who could have likely kept him from embracing the dark side. Number 6. Plotting to assassinate Count Dooku. In the canon novel Dark Disciple, the Jedi Council react to Count Dooku's massacring of refugees on the planet Marani by deciding that the time has now come to give up on bringing their former ally to justice, with his death being the only viable solution to end the war. Their strategy? Assign Jedi Master Quinlan Vos the task of going undercover in order to manipulate Dooku's former Sith apprentice Asajj Ventress into helping him assassinate the Count. Things go from bad to worse pretty much immediately. Vos falls in love with Ventress, embraces the dark side in order to take on Dooku, and eventually becomes his new apprentice for a brief amount of time. Ventress, who by this point was simply trying to carve out her own destiny away from the Jedi and Sith, then sacrificed herself to save her love. Vos returns to the light side, but Darth Tyrannus escapes, leaving the Jedi with blood on their hands and nothing to show for it. The Jedi's insistence that killing Dooku was the only answer at this moment in time serves to illustrate their lowest moment, but also serves as a prelude to the events we see unfold in Revenge of the Sith, when Mace Windu denied Chancellor Palpatine trial due to him being too dangerous to be left alive. Taking the law into your own hands is never a good look, and it all started here. Number 5. Manipulating others with mind tricks. Time and time again over the course of multiple films, comics, and TV shows, we've seen various Jedi convince weak-minded individuals to change their way of thinking at the wave of a hand. The Jedi mind trick has become a tried and tested part of life as a Jedi, but just because it comes with the territory doesn't exactly make it any less disturbing once you get over the initial admiration of the skill. In short, mind tricks are the Jedi's way of manipulating people against their will. Weak-minded or not, having people do your bidding without their consent definitely crosses a line, even if done in the name of avoiding unnecessary bloodshed. But who cares about all that, right? Watching stormtroopers be ordered around by magic wizards is banter. Number 4. Permanently affecting Mandalore. For those who aren't aware, Jedi and Mandalorians have something of a storied past. The two battled for years in a conflict aptly known as the Mandalorian-Jedi War, with the people of Mandalore adapting to their Force-sensitive rivals by creating suits of armor made from the insanely durable Beskar. This fight would ultimately need a victor and a loser though, and unfortunately the Mandalorian natives found themselves defeated by their rivals in the end. If ultimately falling to the Jedi wasn't enough though, their eventual defeat would end up having a catastrophic effect on their home too. In going as far as it took to seal victory in the war, the Jedi's extreme tactics on Mandalore led to a cataclysm on the planet. This ended up scorching much of the surface of the world and leaving it in a white desert-like state, with those still calling Mandalore home forced to take up residence in domed cities on the near uninhabitable planet. Not only did the Jedi's savage tactics leave Mandalore resembling a depressing sandpit, it also made them an enemy for life for many a Mandalorian going forward. Number 3. Abducting children from their homes. Imagine casually punching your father's hands in your living room as a child and admittedly showing some boxing potential, only for a trainer to suddenly show up and insist you come with them and complete your training for the greater good. Well, that's pretty much what goes down whenever a Jedi picks up the scent of a Force-sensitive youngster. Then, after convincing the parents of the child in question that they must come with them due to their higher purpose, the kid spends the next decade of their life being indoctrinated into an order they didn't ask to be a part of. On top of this, these younglings are generally not permitted to return home for visits, leaving families devastated and the majority of the Jedi in training feeling little to nothing for the people who brought them into the world in the first place. Charming. Number 2. Embracing the culture of detachment too much. One of the major pillars held dear to the Jedi seen throughout the era of the Galactic Republic was the complete and utter detachment from emotion and relationships. Forbidding Jedi to embrace their feelings or forging emotional connections to other beings eventually led to the Order becoming a cold, politically orientated organization. This wasn't always the case, however, as during the High Republic times, Jedi fully understood the need for an emotional bond between Master and Padawan, and even their fellow Masters and Jedi Knights. At this time, the Jedi still understood that attachments could eventually open the door to the dark side, but opted to advise Padawans to leave behind these connections once they became fully fledged members of the Order, rather than making them forbidden from the second they began their training. Had they followed a similar approach during the Galactic Republic times, perhaps Anakin Skywalker wouldn't have felt so isolated from the moment he left his mother behind. a way of feeling that would ultimately grow into him completely giving in to the emotions he'd been told were off limits for so long. Number 1. Allowing politics and tradition to become an obsession. The Jedi were once an order focused on keeping the peace and listening to the will of the Force. However, as time went by, they became more and more obsessed with the politics of the galaxy and the old traditions of the Order. A major example of this came during 85 BBY, when Master Sifo-Dyas and Dooku attempted to save the people of Protobranch, after the former had experienced visions of the planet's destruction via impending solar storm. The Jedi Council turned down their request, however, due to the fact they believed Force visions to be not absolute. Ultimately, in one of many cases of the Republic and Jedi Order not having their priorities in order, the population of Protobranch was inevitably decimated by the storm, with the Republic expressing more concern over the loss of resources than the people lost on the planet. This event understandably infuriated the eventual apprentice of Darth Sidious, nudging him ever closer to the dark side, and acted as a precursor for the sort of questionable decision-making that would become a mainstay during the Order's final years. And that's our list. Know of any other times the Jedi went too far? Let us know all about them in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, share, click on that subscribe button and find some more incredible What Culture Star Wars videos just like this one. I've been Gareth from What Culture Star Wars. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you very, very soon.